Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Today, we are going to talk about your life plan, your soul groups, and what's the difference between source, soul, and spirit. Because there's a lot of information out there, and everybody's got their own opinion in different ways that they have studied. So, this is strictly my opinion and what I have learned through more than 45 years of studying spirituality. So, as you know, every month I come on live and I'm talking about basically different chapters in my book. Between Earth and Heaven, A Beginner's Guide to Living a Spiritual Life. And that is available on Amazon. You can get it in paperback or Kindle. You can also get it from my website in the audio version if you would prefer to listen to books. So, we're going to talk about a couple chapters in that book today. So, let's start out with a life plan. So, most people are pretty consistent with what a life plan is, but I want to go into a little bit more detail in that. So we live here in the 3D world where everything you touch, see, and feel exists. There's also the astral plane, and that's where we go in between lives. And we go plan our next life. And a fantastic book that really goes into tremendous detail on this is by Dr. Michael Newton, and it is Journey of Souls. And then his second book is Destiny of Souls. And it really breaks down and talks about your life plan, your soul groups. And it's one of the best spiritual books that I've ever read. Actually, one of the best books I've ever read is Journey of Souls. So, highly, highly recommend it. So, when we are on the astral plane and we are planning our next life, to come in, and that's actually maybe it's even next month that we're going to talk about the difference between past lives and parallel lives. So buckle up for that one. So a life plan are basically the big lessons that you want to learn when you come down into human form again. We are on a planet of free will. So you've got down those lessons cannot not happen. They have to happen, but to the degree that they happen is up to you, up to the connection that you have to your guides. So one example that I like to use is, let's say you've got it written into your life plan that you are going to survive a really bad car accident. That car accident is going to happen. It just is. But if it can happen where there might be a doctor in the car behind you, it might happen that you're nearby a hospital, so you get care much quicker. So your recovery time is much quicker as well. So it's you listening to your guides, having free will on all of this. And there's just so many things that come into play. You can't, nobody knows all of the details, and nobody knows completely about everything until you are on the other side. So again, my personal opinion, my personal experience with this. So we usually come down with at least 2 or 3 really big lessons that we came here to learn. Those lessons are never easy. It's not, I'm going to learn what it's like to be beautiful. I'm going to learn what it's like to be charming. Those are not the lessons. Those lessons are typically for recovery, for humiliation, how to deal with anger, how to heal. It's things like that. Those are big things. But like I said, there's free will on the degree and how you go into these life lessons and how you recover from these life lessons. And what I tell everybody is that nobody gets through life unscathed. Life beats the living crap out of all of us. The trick is, are you going to be a victim? Are you going to be a survivor? Or are you going to be a thriver? And you'll get those choices several times in your life when life is smacking you upside the head. And if you look around you, most people will choose to be a victim or be a survivor. And there's nothing wrong with that, but is that really living the life that you came here to live? I feel like all of us came here to thrive, to learn those lessons, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and move on and know that we deserve to be joyful, to know we deserve to be happy. And just because life beats us down doesn't mean we have to stay there. And with our past, with the way we were raised, your past is not a life sentence. No matter what anybody did to you or what you did to anybody else, it's not a life sentence. unless you murdered somebody and you're in prison for life. Okay, there's a little bit of quantifier there, but you know what I'm talking about. We all have got things in our past that we're not proud of, secrets that we keep. And that isn't a life sentence for us. We can heal from that. We can make amends for that. We can just say, I learned from that. And going forward, I am going to be happier, more joyful. I'm going to treat other people in a better, more respectful way. I'm going to quit judging people. I'm going to quit judging myself. Those are huge, huge things. So, those are the lessons that we set up for our life plan. I also teach a class. If anybody's interested, just contact me through my website at christypeterson.com. And I teach this class called Living the Life Your Soul Intended. And it's really a powerful class. It's about 3.5 hours long. And what we do is we determine your soul age. Because when someone is here as a younger soul, but I want to clarify too, is that we are actually all old souls. We've all been here, but it's how many earth incarnations. So there might be fewer earth incarnations, which would make us call you a younger soul, even though your soul is as old as anybody else's. So with that younger soul, we might be expecting the same from everybody. Well, would you expect a 2-year-old to know how to hold a knife and a fork? No, you wouldn't. And you don't get mad at them because they can't. They're just learning. So you have to, to me, a really great way to get through judgment of yourself or anybody else. It's like, you know what? I'm learning. I don't care what soul age I am. Even if I'm a soul age 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm still learning. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here anymore. So be gentle on yourself, but keep striving to do better. Keep striving to be the next best version of who you are. So in this class, then we talk about your soul age, your soul type, which is why did you come to planet Earth as a soul in this particular time? Because we all chose to be here at this crazy time. And I'm telling you, it's a crazy ass time. But we all chose to be here. So, if you came here to be a caretaker and someone is telling you need to go out and be a salesperson, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right. You're going to fail at that job because it's not what you came here to do. So your life plan is to have a certain set of skills that you are going to be of service to others, and you're going to choose how to express it within the framework of what you chose in this lifetime. And usually there's a main main soul type, then there's a primary influence and a secondary influence that we all have, and it's finding those out. And then you can go, oh, no wonder I don't like doing what I do. Or no wonder I'm so happy at my job. This comes naturally to me. It's because it's why you came here. Isn't that pretty cool? So it's within the framework of your talents that we figure out why you are here. And let's claim those talents. Claim to be who you came here to be. So that's what we try to figure out with a life plan. And then we come in human form and we're like, what? What did I say my life plan was? Ay, ay, ay. And we've got no memory of what that life plan is, but our soul remembers and our spirit remembers. And I said, because we all know exactly who we are in spirit form. The trick is it takes a lifetime to remember that. So it's, yes, we're learning, but actually a better way to frame that is we're remembering because we already know it. We're just remembering. And it's baby step by baby step by baby step. So how cool is that? I know, it's awesome. So now let's talk soul groups, because that's also plays into our life plan, our soul groups. And our soul groups can be many hundreds of people. And when people think of soul group, they think normally of your family. And that can be, 4 to 8 people, something like that. That's your family. Your soul group can be many hundreds of people, and you have agreements with all of them how you're going to interact. And that interaction can be something really brief. It could be a conversation you overhear with someone else that just strikes a chord in you, and it makes you change your thought process, change your behavior. I mean, how cool is that? Also, your soul group can be your soul mate or your twin flame. That's all part of a soul group, and those are the people we typically reincarnate with over and over and over again. We just switch roles. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be mom this time. Okay, I'm going to be the boss next time. I'm going to be little sister next time. I'm going to be baby brother. And we switch all of those roles, but it usually goes within our main soul group. Then we've got an extended soul group. And those are the people typically, not always, that come into our lives for a short time. We interact, we are really close with them, or they just get under our skin, and then they're gone. Because I'll tell you, if somebody's got an enemy, I'm telling you right now, or somebody that you just hate, you can't stand everything, they get under your skin, chances are they are part of your soul group. And they chose to play that aggravating person to help you, trigger you into what you came here to experience. So we need to look at those people that we just can't stand and look at them with gratitude now. It's like, what lesson am I supposed to be learning from you? What gift are you giving me? And I know that one's a hard nut to swallow, but it's true, because when you go back in spirit form and they are back in spirit form, you're going to go, that was you. Oh my God, hilarious. Look at how we both acted. You did exactly what you were supposed to do by just poking at me. And I did what I was supposed to do, which is react in anger, typically, frustration. But I overcame that because you made me aware that it exists. I know, crazy. But that's our soul groups. The people that we reincarnate with all the time, our extended groups, are usually those that might come and go sporadically through life. But we've all had that experience when we meet someone too, and we're just like, we just connected. I don't know what it was, but I feel like, have we met before? It just feels like I know you. It's because you have. And it's been many, many, many other lifetimes that you've just played different roles for each other in those lifetimes. But they are part of your soul group. And that's why your soul recognizes them. And it can be the same thing. When someone walks in, you're just like, the hair on the back of my neck stood up with them. And it's because on a soul level, you know them and you know that they agreed to play this naughty part, and you're reacting to that. So, that's pretty cool, I think. Anyway, so let's move on now to source, soul, and spirit. This is the one where I find the most differing information. We're really saying exactly the same thing, but so many of us are choosing different words. So I'm going to tell you my words, my version of it, and just understand that you're going to maybe read the next book or go to the next class and hear something that's slightly different. It's not going to be hugely different, I will tell you that, but it might be slightly different. And you're going to go, what? But she said, and then he said, and I don't know, I'm confused. I'm just going to walk away. Don't do that, because we really are all saying the same thing. And the same thing is that we are all one. That is the ultimate message. But how do we break it? Because you're hearing the word source, you hear the word soul, you hear the word spirit, and it's like, I don't get it. It's confusing to me. So when we talk about source, that is God, creator, everything that has ever been or ever will be. That is what we call source. So when people pray to God, to Allah, to any of the deities, they're really talking to source. And I don't like to use the word praying, because that comes, I don't know, it's just a thing with me. But we're communicating with source, we're communicating with God, we're communicating with the deity that is of your preference, of your choice. It's the same thing. And it's source, which is everything. It's love, basically, but it's everything that has ever been or ever will be. So how do we get then to soul and spirit? We're going to bring it down a little bit here. So let's pretend the ocean is source. Let's pretend the ocean is everything that has ever been or ever will be. It is God. It is the creator. We're going to take a bucket and we're going to scoop it in the ocean and pull out a bucket of water. Is it still the source? Yeah. It's still the ocean? Absolutely. It's a subset of that. That is our soul. And so, as individuals, we come down from the ocean. We are, as a soul, we are that bucket of water, and there's lots of buckets of water out there. Still source. So we are pieces of divinity. We are pieces of source. So we can't judge somebody else for being less than. They're learning. They're coming here to experience what they came to experience. We might not agree with it, but we have to understand it, where that comes from. So, okay, we got the ocean. Now we got the bucket of water, which is your soul. Now we're going to take a teaspoon out of that bucket of water. That is a spirit. So when next month we're going to talk about reincarnation, past lives versus parallel lives, because what I believe is that that bucket, once you take that teaspoon out, that is a life. That's the life you're living today. So what happens with the rest of this? If your entire soul came into your body, the body can't handle that energy, and it literally would just combust. It wouldn't be. So that's why with that bucket of water, we take a teaspoon out, and that is the spirit that is you today. Another teaspoon is going to be another lifetime of yours. Another teaspoon is another lifetime of yours. Those are all happening from that main soul. So what I get a lot of times, especially with parents who have lost children, it's like, but what if they reincarnate before I die? I'll never get to see them again. Let's say that does happen. Well, okay, so here is your child's bucket. Here is your child's spirit. That is the life that you know as your daughter. And that daughter dies, goes back to their bucket. So when you die, you're going to recognize that soul and that spirit within that soul. So it doesn't matter if they've reincarnated, it's going to be a different spirit. And the spirit that you know, or that this an adult knows as their daughter, is still going to be there and just be part of soul. So hopefully it's hard to wrap your head around this stuff. I'm just saying. But that helps me understand. So when you got this bucket and all of these teaspoons of water that represent different spirits or different lives that are ultimately you, as they die, they go back to soul. They go back. Spirit goes back to soul. This spirit goes back to soul. This spirit goes back to soul. When all of those spirits have gone back to soul, then that bucket of water goes back to the ocean again. So can you see how every spirit is a piece of divinity? Even if it's a little teaspoon, it's a piece of divinity. And right now, that's what the human body can handle. And here's a really good example. You know, you've seen people that are just full of energy. They're just, they're all over the place. They might have a tablespoon rather than a teaspoon from that bucket. And you've seen other people that are just, I just got to sleep all the time. I don't know why I don't have any energy. It's a lot of times it's because maybe they have a half of a teaspoon out of their bucket. So, you know, it all plays into it. So all of those teaspoons, which are your spirit, your different lives, go back to the bucket, which is your soul. That soul then goes back to the ocean, which we call source. So hopefully that analogy clears things up for you. It certainly helped me when, with all the books I've read, all the classes I've taken, I started piecing all this together, and that's what made sense to me. So the bottom line on this is for all of you to know that we are all one. We all are a piece of divinity. And we need to respect that. Respect ourselves, respect other people. And so then, you know, we talk about ego. Because what makes then, when we these buckets of water, these teaspoons of water, what makes me different from you? What makes you different from a parent? What makes you different from your boss? What makes me different from, you know, anybody else that I run into? That's our ego. So when we take that teaspoon of water out of that bucket of water, what happens is we have to have an ego, which is what separates us. Now, an unhealthy ego is something different, where it's all about me, it's service to self rather than service to others. And that all goes back to the law of one. We are all one. All right. So ego is actually great. We have to have it. So to live this human experience and understand that why are we different from everybody else? That's why. But it has to be a healthy ego. It still has to be an ego of I am in service to others, and I am choosing to express it this way. So, and we can talk about that is being of service to others is huge. It's really unending. As long as your intent is in the right place, your heart is in the right place, and you are in service to other people in some way, shape, or form, at least 51% of the time, then you are working with the law of one. So, how cool is that? So, that's why you have an ego. It's supposed to make you different from everybody else. That's why it exists. But it doesn't make you better or worse than someone else. It just makes you different. So you can experience what you came here to experience. Because then when you go back to your soul and your soul goes back to source, look at the ocean water. How is it separated? It's not. It's all the same. We are all one. And if you guys want some really heavy duty reading, I'm in the process right now of reading The Law of One. And it's a series of 6 different books that you can buy as a set. And I'm just ending book 2 right now. It's pretty heavy, but it's channeling the Raw Collective. And basically, it's like, where did we come from? How did all of this begin? And it's pretty heavy reading. So I wouldn't suggest it for people that are just beginning their spiritual path. You got to have been on it for a while, because otherwise you'll just be like, I don't get this. Because I got a whole bunch of that going on anyway. This doesn't make sense to me. All right, so we talked about your life plan. We talked about soul groups. We talked about source, soul, and spirit today. And again, those can be found in my book, Between Earth and Heaven, A Beginner's Guide to Living a Spiritual Life. So next month, we will be talking about reincarnation, parallel lives, soulmates, and twin flames. And, everybody wants to know about soulmates. Well, yeah, buckle up. Woo, this is going to be fun. All right. Thank you. And if you want to book a private appointment with me, you can go to ChristyPeterson.com. And I wanted to let you know, on my website, I came up with 2 meditations that are now out there. I am charging for them. They are $4.99, but you can download them and then listen to them forever. One of them is the chakra thing. And on Facebook, I just finished a 7-month series talking about all the different chakras. So this meditation is to really tap into that, to those chakras all the time. I think. Excuse me. I sneeze like a cat, just like my mother. Okay. And the other meditation is called Beautiful Body, because what I see all the time, and this is, again, part of our ego, is we judge ourselves, and it's like, if you could only lose these 20 pounds. Oh, my hips are too big. Oh, look, I got lines on my face. Oh, And we complain and complain about our bodies. And what this meditation is to now start coming from gratitude. Thank you for my eyes so I can see. Thank you for my ears because I can hear you. Thank you for my arms so I can hug the people I love. And it's like, let's start focusing on the millions of things that have to happen every single day for you to function in this body. Let's focus on that rather than 20 pounds, big hips, big butt. Who cares? Nobody cares. And if someone judges you for it, that's their stuff. That's not your stuff. Because your ego is supposed to make you different from everybody else. So let's go to your beautiful body and give gratitude for it rather than judgment. All right, so ChristyPeterson.com. I think, it's got my name on there somewhere. And then, if you want to book a private appointment, again, just contact me through my website and we'll set something up for you. All right. Blessings to you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you listening to this, and we will talk next month.